Head I might fall off my chair while I'm looking around the stair. Clowns on the left of me, jokers on the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Well, are you stuck in the middle?
Wait. Matron, take them away.
And a warm welcome to one and all. And if this is your first time here, I'm the vocal talent that is the Scruffy trader. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Oh, you agree with me today? No, she takes the piss. She genuinely takes the piss. Because she's naughty. Are you a naughty girl?
No.
Oh, shit. All right. We can live in hope, can't we?
You dirty old man.
Ah, yes, if it's your first time here, none of this is scripted. It's just me, the big fella, the smiling wonder there, and a cup of coffee telling you your thoughts on trading. And I live and breathe trading, but it isn't the be-all and end-all of my life. It is just a purpose to live my life. And I hope that makes sense. And that might come apparent soon. Because what I'm going to do today, I'm going to kind of use my life as a metaphor. And as I'm going through the little story of the key points, I'm going to put some words up on the whiteboard. And then at the end of it, I'm going to go through how I set up my accounts. And you might understand at the end of it why I set them up the way I do based on life experiences. Because trading is all about experience. It's not X marks the spot or you've bought some shiny bollocks course. It is experience. And if you've ever run a business or you've been in a reasonable position in a job, you'll understand that you get to that position through experience, trial and error. And that's what this is all about. So where's this all being driven from? Why? Well, Coffee with Scruff is really just my thoughts from the prior week, from either an email that's come in or something I've seen in the comment sections of the video, and sometimes from forums. Now, I don't use forums very much, and this next slide is going to illustrate it, because it's why I'm doing this in the first place this week. Well, it's not why, it's just kind of a trigger for a thought that was in my head. Here.
You ding-dong!
Now, I don't go into forums very much. I find them full of, let's just put it this way. You're never criticized by somebody who's doing better than you. And it's full of opinions and it's full of shiny bollocks. Case in point here.
You ding-dong!
Now, shiny bollocks is just a system that is la la land. It is the stupid Telegram groups, as you've seen, signal services, you name it, shiny bollocks. In other words, it looks good, but it just has no substance to it. I don't like that. All right. Why? Because I think it makes a mockery of trading, and it also hurts people that get involved with it. And again, I don't like that either. I have no time for bullies. And I have little time for anybody who will purposely hurt somebody. I'll take the piss, I genuinely will. And even the chap who's having a go at me, and he has a go at me all the time. He might be a nice guy. I wish him no ill will. None whatsoever.
You serious?
Anyway, case in point. He's pulling my salary apart. Doesn't know anything about my salary. Doesn't understand how I drive a Range Rover. Well, why not? I even had a chap send an email, doesn't even think it's my car. So, right, come with me and we'll have a look at something before we carry this on. Okay, boys and girls, so I think we can safely assume this is my house. What you got to remember is I have no debt, none whatsoever, don't even have a mortgage. Now, I'm not sure if you can see out the window.
It doesn't look good. Right, we'll go outside. Let's go down the stairs. Off we go. Happy days, happy days, happy days. Got to be careful because I fell down these earlier on. In there, believe it or not, is a real life wife. Because that was another moron. Did you marry me?
I did, yes.
Did you have sex with me?
Many times.
Oh, you dirty bitch. Wow, get on.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Right, I'm going to stop this now and make a tape. See? No. What have we got up here? Oh, could it be a set of car keys? Might be. There's my Millennium Falcon. Thank you, Darren. Still got it. But what's this, boys and girls? It looks like a key. Looks like a Land Rover key. Interesting. Let's go outside. So, off we go. Back outside. It's a bit bright today. So, there's my house. And if we look over there, there's the woods that you see me walk around in. It's a nice area, this. So, down the side of the house, big wall. Let's see what else we got. Because we come to the bottom of my wall, so you can see it. What's that behind me? Looks like a Range Rover to me. Could it be? Well, let's find out. Let's go down the bottom of my garden. Oh, there it is. Key. Oh, did you hear that? Oh, look at them mirrors moving. Hold on. I'm not the best David Bailey. Whoop, there we go. Incredible, that. My Range Rover. I worked hard for that. And I paid for it outright.
No way.
Okay, little bit of merriment. But let's get back to trading and what this is all about. So, trading for me is a job. It's a business. And I limit my exposure, risk, whatever you want to call it, by splitting up my accounts. So I use a couple of brokers and a prop firm. Similarly, the way that I look at my own personal finances, I don't hold all of my money in a singular account. I break it up. Why? Because you have protection of 80,000 per account. So that way, if you divide up your assets, they are fully protected. Simple stuff. My trading is very similar. Now, within trading, there are a number of ways you can go down. Now, like I said, I use a couple of brokers. A preferred broker of mine is Black Bull. I use these regular for the MT5 platform. Why? Well, it's very simple. They have very good spread, because it doesn't get any better than that. If you are looking to come into Black Bull, it's a very small startup, and they give you very good leverage. Interested, there's a link below. I use the 5%ers, which is a prop fund. Again, why do I use these? Well, I actually never wanted to use a prop fund. I did it for the Scruffy squad, which is the group that I run. And within that, those guys see exactly what I do and how I do it. But more importantly, I try and keep them on the right track. And Volker, little salute to you, my friend, got me involved with the 5%ers. Now, this was a while ago. And I'm one of these because I come from a business background, as you're about to see. We'll look at the T's and C's, and I understand the ethos of these guys and what they're trying to achieve. And I agree with it, so I traded with them. And not only did I trade with them, I've then started helping them out as best I can. And I don't get paid for it. I do it because of my group. That's it. I want to help my guys, and in the process I'm helping these. And in that process, I've got to know the key characters of the 5%ers, and I've got a lot of time for them. So that's why I do it free. And the offerings that they have are very simple. You got the 100%, 100k boot camp rather. don't get any cheaper than 85. You know, that's a good return on investment. Remember that, because that'll come into play a lot. The freestyle. Now, I'm testing freestyle at the moment. You'll have seen that in the other videos. I'm going to do it twice. The first one, which I'm doing now, is literally like a beta test. I'll show you the stats if you want to see them. And the instant funding, which is what I run. Here's my instant funding. Passes, didn't do it once, did 3 times. Boom. And freestyle, which if we come down through these, I'll show you mine at the moment. That's the instant funding, where you go straight to market, you get your profit from day one, and you work your way up to 4 million. That's life-changing if I've ever heard it. And you just work your way through and you get decent payouts constantly. In fact, give me a second, because that's another query, again, from the forums. They never pay out. Beg to differ, I think they do.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Because there's a deal account, it's coming on the end of the month and my payments are now starting to come in. And there is lots of payments from the 5%ers, and that just keeps on going. So that kind of dispels that, shall we say. Go down into the freestyle. Now the freestyle is slightly different. It's based on your performance factor rather than a profit target or a drawdown. You've got the entire account to play with. They adjust the lot size as you go through, which is something I'm trying to figure out at the moment to find a happy balance. And it's just constantly monitored. In fact, here, I'll show you. Where are we at? There is my freestyle account at this moment in time. I haven't lost a trade in 27. I've got an excellent equity curve, but as you can see, there's a barrier here. And so many of my trades are on this side of it, so many are on there, because it's working out the average profit. So I've still got plenty of time to get that up to 2. I must work on that. I must get it better. And my winning factor's over halfway. And I've got 73 trades to go. So I've got plenty of time to do what I need. But it's still work in progress, shall we say. And I'll keep that going. So happy days, happy days. So what I'm going to do now is I want to take you through a little bit of me, where I came from and how I got to where I am today, because my life story is about as weird as it gets, but it also has very good life lessons within it. And each time I sort of click a life lesson, shall we say, I'm going to jump up on the whiteboard. And I'll put the first one up there right now. So what's the first thing that I'm going to put on the board? Well, it's simply my favorite quote. And that is, know thyself. That's the first lesson that you will ever need. Know thyself. Why? Because only you know you, and then that will help you with your education moving forward. So let's get down into a little story, shall we? So let's go back in time to when I was just a little kid. Now, I grew up in the 70s and the early 80s. You know, I was born in 1970, 52 years old now. So the memory's a bit foggy, but these moments still stand out for me. Now, when I was a kid, I used to love to go ice skating. Used to use the death wellies. Oh, they were an experience. And I really wanted to play hockey and have some hockey boots. But my parents, they worked hard, you know, because I come from a family of grafters, as does Juan. You know, none of us have ever claimed a thing in our lives. and that'll come into play as well. We've always worked for what we had, but money was tight. And I was talking to my gran, who I spent a lot of time with, and I said, I really want these. My gran couldn't afford it either. I mean, I used to just get like a little sort of 20p pocket money or something, and a Star Wars figure at the time was like 99 pence or something, so I had to wait 5 weeks to buy one Star Wars figure. Wish there were 99 pence now, because I'm trying to collect them and bugger me. But anyway, cut long story short, she said, well, if you weed the grass, I'll give you some money, and you can earn your ice boots. I had a light bulb moment. So I figured out, if I do this, I get that. Because across that summer, got a little bucket and sponge, went knocking on doors, you know, wash your car, mister. Made a complete arse of it, but to seeing a little kid trying, so they give me a little bit of money. Weeded next door's garden, I got a paper round, ended up having a milk round, got a little Saturday job, and I earned constantly. So that was one of the first things in my life that I figured out, that nobody's going to give you it. It all comes from hard work. But it also gave me my first key word, a work ethic. So let me put that on the board. Ethic. And I've had this work ethic my entire life. Now, when I went through education, and you sort of get to 16, you leave secondary school, you want to go sixth form, all that sort of thing, 17. I needed to start thinking about what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And I was heavily influenced by my uncles, who were both police officers, Uncle Terry and Uncle George. Again, I spent a lot of time with them because I lived a lot of time with my gran. And that was the path that I thought I was going to take. However, the police academy closed when I left school, and sort of asked the police if I can have a job. They said, no, too young, go away, get some life experience, and then come back when you're older. And I thought, right, okay, what do I do? How do I figure this out? What is it I need? I need a job. So that's what I did. And that's the next word, job. We're going to have job on here as well. Job. So we have a job. And I ended up being shipped off down to Canary Wharf. Friend of the family. I was only going to be there for the summer. And I took to it, you know, and I ended up being down there for about 4 years, 4.5 years, something like that. So there I am, this little kid, country bumpkin from Durham, off down into London. And got my work ethic, got my job, and I had to stick in. So I did. And I learned a skill. And that skill was heavy construction. Did I like it? Not particularly. But I did it because I had to. Why? Because it earned me money. And it was a reasonably good job. But there was a key word I've just said there, which is going to go back up on the board as well. Skill. So we're going to put a skill up there. Skill. Now this will all become apparent soon. Now, in the early 90s, there was massive interest rates. The building industry collapsed on heavy construction, as well as sort of retail market for housing. And that had a knock-on effect with the economy. And we're all out on our ear on a job. And I'm like, bloody hell, no job. What do I do? And at the time, little kiddie came along, and I'm only a young man, you know, very early 20s. What do I do? I haven't got the luxury to sign up to go to the police force, because I would have to be away for probably about a year in training and one thing and another, and it wasn't the right thing to do when you've got a small child. I had a commitment. So I had two choices. I either sort of sit in the corner and cry, or roll my sleeves up and get out there and earn a living. So that's what I did. I had a few odd jobs, and I kind of ended up in sales, of all things. It wasn't somewhere I planning on being, becoming a sales rep. And by hook and crook, I had a couple of odd jobs. I ended up working for a medical company. It's a lowly little rep, you know. So what I've done is I've gone from a job that had given me a skill and that work ethic, and I was one of the rarities on a construction site in the sense I was educated. You know, I might be able to spell for shit, but I'm good with numbers, and I'm pretty fast-minded in learning things. So that kind of got me up the ladder a little bit, and because of that, that helped me when I came over into sort of the medical sector, because I could talk at two levels. I can talk way down in the gutter with the guys in the construction, but because I was reasonably sort of educated to a degree, I could also talk with the site managers. So I was a good go-between, and that communication skills helped me become a rep. So what I'd done is I'd adapted one kind of skill set into another. So that's the next word, adapt. So there we go, adapt. Building up nicely. So I had to adapt, and I found myself sort of looking around thinking, can I do this? And then I thought, well, yeah, I can. I've got the work ethic, I've got the education, you know, I just need to apply myself. So I soaked up as much information as I could, and I watched and learned off others. And when I was given a target, I broke it down into little bite-sized chunks, and I achieved that target over and over. And if you're seen to achieve, the company will sort of help you and push you forward. And they did that in the form of education. So they put me through business school, management, taught me P&L, ROI, all of this sort of stuff. And I embraced it all. But I got to a point where I thought, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? You know, even though I had a big salary, company car, expense account, and quite a bit of a responsibility, I thought, no, not really. Because the problem with a blue chip company is it's almost like a Game of Thrones. There's always political maneuvering going on to try and cast the shadow elsewhere if somebody is failing. And I didn't like that. I didn't like the politics behind that at all. Why? Because I've got a moral compass and a very strong sense of right and wrong. And I just thought, it's not for me. So when I hit 30, I made a choice. I'm going to spend a bit of time looking to change my life. And that change was, I thought, well, I'm a good boss, but I'm not a very good employee because I like to do things my way. So what do? Do I change career and come to the same decision? Or do I make my career on my own terms in a business? And that's what I wanted to do. I thought, right, okay, I'll set a business up. So I did. Spent a bit of time, and I looked back on my life, my work ethic, my construction days, my planning days in the blue chip, and the business side of it. What can I do? I thought, all right, there's a gap in the market here. And the gap in the market was plumbing. And I thought, well, when you hire a plumber that's coming to fit your bathroom, you then got to hire a tiler, get a joiner in, got to get an electrician in. And I thought to myself, well, what if one person did it all? And all you have to do is just brew the coffee and say, this is what I want. So that's what I did. And I had a few vans on the road, did quite well. A good set of contractors all around me. And I made good money. And then I got divorced. That crippled me financially, as divorces often do. And I had to rebuild my life. And the only way I know how to rebuild things is work. So I was kind of working 2 jobs. I was doing the day job and then renovating houses at night time. And I was exhausted. And I had an accident. Bad accident.
You ding dong!
And that finished me off because I couldn't work tools anymore. And what happened? I broke my neck. It's left me with nerve damage in this hand and down this side of my body. And I just have to make the best of a bad job. Now, at the time, I was just starting to date Joanne. So that was another blow to me. In the sense I thought, here we are. I found the best part of my life. And now I'm going to watch it slip away. Because who wants to stay with somebody who's cabbage? Well, I was surprised. Because she did. And she wanted to spend her life with me as well. So, me, I have to get better. I have to become stronger.
Gentlemen, we can rebuild him.
And I ain't going to be sort of on benefits or anything like that. I've got no time for that or anybody who thinks that's a lifestyle. I believe in the system. I think if you fall down, it's there to lift you up. But if you think it's there for a God-given right, no, that's wrong. You know, nobody owes nobody a favour. We're in this on our own and we make our own way in the world. And that's something that is in my mind all the time. Kind of why I don't like freeloaders. I have got 0 time for freeloaders. If you're struggling, I'll help you. If you think you are owed it, not interested in you. Go away. You know, because you'll always be a loser. Why? Because you haven't got a work ethic. Don't understand what it is to put something in and watch it be created. You just think it should be given. Nothing is given. Anyway, almost got on a rant there. Oh, that's one subject you never want to get me on. Anyway, so what did I do? I thought, well, I can use a keyboard. Still buy and sell things because the online community was starting to evolve at this point. Put adverts in magazines, sell that way. There's many different ways. Again, just adapt and change and alter. And that's what I did. So I built model kits, these things. Keep my fingers moving. And I thought, well, I can't go get the model kits. They can come to me. And that gave me the light bulb moment of selling them myself. So we set up a small business selling gift wares, you know, toys, because I've got them all everywhere, and model kits, plastic injection molds. And it grew, and it grew very well. Started in the back of a garage, went into a little unit, into another unit, into a bigger unit, into a big factory unit. Fantastic. Life was good. And Joanne and I built this together, and it eventually gave her the opportunity to stop being a teacher and come and work in the office with me full time. And we had a good life. You know, we had his and hers Mercedes. We flew around the world business class. It gave us the opportunity to lift people out of poverty because we employed quite a lot of people. And as you say, we had a jolly old time of things constantly. And on those days, whatever we took, I used to give 10% to charity. It was always help the heroes and St. Cuthbert's. And I still do it today. Why? Because if you can, you should. And those guys had a really good time working for us. And not only were they employees, they became friends as well. So we were like a little family. And I loved it. And then the sad day came that market forces caused the company to collapse. And it did collapse. you know. But I made certain every one of those employees was looked after. And we tried to clear out as much of the company debt as we could, because it was all on my shoulders. Because as much as you think you're protected, you're not. There's always the director guarantee. And when the bank pulled the overdraft and said, right, that's it, you got 7 days, even though the company was trading very well, it wasn't in arrears on anything, they just said the overdraft's over. But it was such a blow, it would have put us into a point where we couldn't pay our bill. And when that comes and you're late with your bills, you are classed as insolvent. And if you continue to trade as being insolvent, it is illegal. So I had no other choice. I had to shut the company. And the only way out of it was to let the family home go. And some of our creditors, that they didn't want to wait for the house to be sold. So I had to go through corporate bankruptcy. And that is one of the worst things to ever watch, to see a company get put into that, because the wolves come at you like there's no tomorrow. So we left again with nothing. Literally, they took everything, ripped us to shreds. And it's the most indignified thing you could ever go through. But anyway, what do? Do you sit in the corner and cry? Do you roll your sleeves up and get stuck in? Well, I think you might have found through this story, don't give in very easily. Now, within the company, I got a new skill set, and that was trading. And where did that come from? Well, as the company grew, you outrun your supply chain. What that means is you start with a secondary wholesaler where you're only little and you're spending a couple £100. So you'll buy off a small wholesaler, and you'll buy off a bigger wholesaler because you can spend a bit more and maybe furnish a little bit better price. Then you can go to a distributor because you can outstrip the wholesaler. And again, you furnish a better price and you start discussing one thing and another. And then from there, you go direct to source manufacturer. Now, in a business meeting I had with the distributor, there was a chap who used to work for me who was an ex-commercial bank manager, this guy. And I owe quite a lot to this fella. We were having a conversation. I was trying to get the price down. And the chap we were having the meeting with said he can't do it for the exchange rate. Now, I'm like, what's that got to do with a slice of bread? I just want a better price here. I'll buy more. Just give me a better price. And he was arguing that he couldn't. And then Jim sort of piped up about forward purchasing of currency and exchange rates and had this bizarre conversation. Anyway, that struck a chord with me. I started quizzing him on the way home. And as the company grew and we sort of moved to the next level, which was direct to source, when you are dealing with manufacturers in far off lands, we used to buy a lot in the Far East. They don't want pound notes. They want US dollars or yen. If we are buying in Turkey, Germany, or in Czechoslovakia, as we did, they want euro. So it made common sense for us to sit on these currencies. And if we timed the purchase of the currency right, we could actually get more bang for our buck in product, which increased our P&L, which increased our return on investment, ROI. So I had all of this in mind, and through the course of the years, I started teaching myself how to trade properly. Went on various seminars, bought God knows how many different courses, and spent a lot of time doing it, losses, you name it. I spent a fortune on it. And when the company shut, I thought that's what I would kind of like to do for a living, because I'd be able to work at home, do what I choose, spend time with Winky, and do something that I love, really, because I did get to enjoy it. But there was a problem. I didn't have the money. I just lost every mortal thing I'd ever had. And I was like, God's sake. And Joanne was humming and hawing, thinking, should she go back to teaching and all of this sort of thing? And I'm thinking, what shall I do with my life? You know, because one of the things that happens in a situation like that, while the company was running, my phone was ringing constantly. You want to go to this event? You want to go there? Invited here. The day that company shut, nobody wanted to know. That phone stopped on this very first day. And I'm talking blood relatives as well. You know, nobody wanted to know. It's amazing what happens when the tap gets turned off. Really find out who you know. And I found out I knew one person. And he lifted his hand out and said, "Don't panic. We'll fix this." And regardless of what this guy does for the rest of his life, short of sleeping with Joanne, I'll look after him the rest of his life. Because he showed me that humanity exists. So anyway, cut long story short, what Joanne and I decided that we would do, we sort of, our big house wasn't there anymore, we're in this little pokey hole. We thought, right, we want to get out of the house we're in, because we've lost all of our other rental properties, all of that sort of thing. And we're going to rebuild it. And you only rebuild it through hard work. So I decided I'll go back on the tools, even though I knew it was going to hurt and kill me. She decided she was going to help by selling little sweets and one thing and another, and help do the books for me. And we will cut back on everything. So Joanne worked out we can live probably on about 25 quid a week in groceries after bills. And every other penny will be put into rebuilding our lives. So she decided to do that. And she saved enough money up that she could afford to rent a little unit. Here it is here. So built that. I went back on the tools to help. Didn't go well because every day I was crippled. And every extra little bit of money I put into a trading pot, as well as trading, and I compounded it up. And why? Because there was only one way out. And that's through hard work with Joanne and I. And then Joanne went from that unit into our own little shop that you used to see us run around in. And I spent some time just getting my pot big enough to give me a wage. And then I came and worked in the shop with her. Very, very simple. So that is kind of our life and how we've overcome quite a bit to get to where we are, and sacrificed probably more. So that gives you a little insight into who and where I came from. But what has all that got to do with my accounts?
We're waiting.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the board and I'll quickly show you. But before I do that, let me just flick the screen on, because I'm gonna show you something. Okay, guys. So this is my Morningstar account. If you haven't been following Morningstar, what it is, it's basically showing you how I built up those accounts in the first place. Starting small, building up. Now it started March, and this is a new sheet from April, but it started in March with 350. We withdrew 40. If you go through the videos, you'll see that. And then we reset it for the new tax year, which is here. Okay. Now, April, we didn't lose a trade and we're moving up. Now, May, as you see, that has increased substantially. Why? Because it's the compounding effect. Now, the compounding effect is kind of this, where it's growing gradually and then you make it into a wage maker and you set your stall out as to where you want to be. Well, we're now into May and it's kind of the last Saturday of the month. Got a very good win rate of 93, and if you see my statements from earlier, you'll see I hold my win rates quite well. And it's now giving me a profit of 64.18. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to round that down to just £64, and I'm going to withdraw £64 out of it. So this is it here. That is there, Morningstar. And you'll see that I have various accounts in this broker. Now this is what I'm going to show you on the board as well. All right, so it's my Morningstar account. It is a live account, which you can see here. And there is the balance, which kind of marries up to my sheet. Okay. So happy days. So what's this got to do with a slice of bread? Well, I'm going to take 64 quid out. So we want to withdraw into the bank. 64. Boom. Nationwide. This is just illustrating me backing up everything that I do. All right. Now, it doesn't sound a lot, 64. And I do get mocked when I take out small amounts like this that I did last time. 64 quid more than I had before. And when the account starts again for the next new month, next week, it is also starting with a bigger balance. So it all builds up. Hope that makes sense. So let me jump on the whiteboard a second. And I'm going to show you how those accounts are built up and why they're there. Okay, guys. So we've got some words here. Now, there's a few I want to add into this. ROI. P&L. Okay. And change. All right. Now, all of these build up your life skill. And your life skill is what will get you through as a trader. Now, you've got to learn how to plan and understand what you're trying to achieve. Now, my first priority is a wage. So that was my first account. So I have a wage account. Now, I have benchmarks for what that wage account is. Now, what is a benchmark? Well, a benchmark is the plateau that I don't want to go below. Anything above it is great. Because, again, if we go back to the start, the guy was querying my wage of 30k. Now, I talk about 30k as a wage because it is what is called my basic. All right? So it's my basic wage. My basic. Now, when I worked for the blue chip company, it was a basic and an OTE, on target earnings. OTE, right? Now, when I talk to my kids, I never talk about on target earnings. I tell them about basic. Now, my basic is 30 grand. 30k. Why 30k? Because it's enough to pay all the household bills, feed us, clothes on our back, all of that sort of stuff. And it works out at about 200 quid a day, 3 days a week, 48 weeks a year. Why is that? Well, I don't want to be working the full year. I want a holiday. So that's 48. Right? So that gives me 48 weeks. But I want 30 grand. I don't like trading Monday. I don't like trading Friday because they're wildcards. So that means I've got to earn 600 quid between Tuesday and Thursday. Well, that's 3 days. 600 divided by 3 equals 200 a day. This is your compounding and your wage making. That gives me 30 grand. If I do that each day, I know all my bills are paid. Don't have to worry about it. Right? Anything I do above that is amazing. And at the end of the month, what happens is I take 50% for me as a bonus. As you've just seen there on that sheet with Morningstar, I took half of the profit. Half of it was mine, the other half belonged to the account. Why? Because I want to see it grow. So 50% me, 50% goes into another account that belongs to my trading, my Kenobi accounts. Why? The Wise Master. It's what it's called, right? I call it the Kenobi. Okay? So that's how I work that out. So my 30k, it can be 3 times that, you know. but that is your benchmark. Anything above it is my on target earnings. And if I push the boat out to say 80,000, well, my bills need to be 80,000, but they're not, they're down to 30. Well, that makes sense. So that's kind of what I do with my wage account. But then I want a house account. Right? So you've got a house account. Right? I want a car. So I have a car account. I want a pension. Because, funny enough, when I'm old, I might want to enjoy this. I know I'm old now, but... Now, this is day trade. These are predominantly swing. All right? Just kind of put these all together. And each one of these generates roughly about 1,000 a month-ish. 1K. All right? And what I do with them is, at the end of each month, they get put into a bank account as well. And each one of the bank accounts is split. So they don't go into a single bank account. I've got a house account, pension account, car account, holiday account, you know, all these different things. I break up all of my monies. Why? Because I want to spread out risk. Simple stuff. And it is all down to sort of, I have a work ethic because I know what I'm looking to achieve. I treat this as a job. That job is derived from a skill set that I've acquired over the years. That skill adapts to market conditions. And then from there, I'm looking at my return on investment and my P&L, and all of this is just part of it. I hope that kind of makes sense in the way that I look at things. I mean, even my bank account, yeah, case in point here. My personal bank account is broken up to mirror the way I have my trading accounts. Because I plan it. Now, I know this might look odd, and a lot of when you see these videos, because I never script them, not really. I just have an idea in my head and I go for it. But I tell you it from the heart. And that's the only way that it can be. And when I see clowns sort of in the Lambo world,
You ding dong!
land of La La Land, and they are sort of telling you it's going to be easy, telling you it's going to be fast money. It's not. It takes a lot of planning, a lot of commitment, and a lot of bloody hard work. But ultimately, there's one word amongst that lot that ties it all together. And that one word is job. Trading is my job. And that job allows me to drive a Range Rover. Why? Because I want to. Allows me to live in the house that I want, and has got me debt free. I owe nobody nothing. I have spent 5 years rebuilding my life, paid off all my debts. I don't even have a mortgage anymore. Right? Everything we have is ours, and it's all being done from a job. And then when I get someone querying a Range Rover, I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for it, but it's paid for outright. Let's just say it cost more than £1 and it was less than £20,000. I live in a house. You know, that's ours. Why? It's work for it. Now, the thing is, I live in the UK in the north. The cost of living up here is relatively cheap. You know, you can even buy a house under £40,000 up here. This is right move. There you go. So property's pretty cheap. I drive 4,000 to 5,000 miles a year, so the fuel in my car is not an issue. See where I'm going? You cut your cloth to what you've got. Now I work on a 30k salary because that gives me what I need. Anything above it gives me the luxuries I want. They are two different things. You need what you need. Pay your bills first, eat, clothe your back. If you want to go on holiday, luxuries, that comes from somewhere else. Hope that makes sense. So that's me in a nutshell. That is my life. It is how I became what I am. Some like it, great. Some don't, couldn't care less. But I'm happy. I've got somebody who loves me. And I wake up every day with a smile on my face. Can you say the same? So ponder your thoughts, and I welcome your comments. And as always, guys, trade well, risk managed, but above all, do what you love, and the money will follow. See you all in the next one.